do believe it started. So good evening, brothers. I'm going to start by muting everyone out. Oh, wait. Wrong way. Ah, there we go. I actually did the unmute all. And then we'll share. There we go. And share. All right. So you should be able to see my screen now. Good evening, brothers. Again, welcome to the next session of the webinar series from the Grand Lodge. As a couple reminder points, right? This isn't tiled. They are recorded. I'll keep yourself on mute. I will watch the chat feature for questions as we're going through, and there will be the poll opened at the end of the meeting. So please do submit that as well. We have the upcoming schedule. The Grand Secretary will be taking questions next week, Tuesday. Yeah. If you may not show up now that we've announced it again, but we'll see. If you have questions you want to submit ahead of time, please feel free to submit them to me or send them to him directly too. We all have his email address. And with that, we have our featured presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and I need to switch the sharing part and unmute. Brother Joe, Worship Brother Joe, it is yours. You should be able to share now.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Joe Amos. I'm a past master of Ancient Landmark number 5. Been on the membership committee for the last year. And I've got Christopher Wendover, who's also joining, who's also on the membership committee. So what we did was put together a short presentation on how to enhance membership experience, especially in our current COVID-19 situation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and get started on the slideshow that I've got. Enhancing a membership experience in the time of COVID. So there's a couple of things that we met during last week and talked a little bit about some of the things that's sort of impacting the ability for Masonic lodges to sort of keep up their membership. We've got these new tools of technology using Zoom. There's all kinds of digital tools available for lodges to use. But we want to emphasize that the communication, it being a tool, it's not a replacement. So during the time of the quarantine, we're going to look over some things that we should be doing as lodges, keeping in mind that sort of this new technology shouldn't be used as a replacement. We're also going to talk a little bit about things that you could do during the time of the quarantine, and then also looking ahead to when those times might come to an end. So in the time of this quarantine, of course, tiled meetings aren't allowed. One thing that I have noticed a lot about my interactions with people, my job calls on me to make phone calls and talk to people a lot. And I've noticed that a lot of the phone conversations that I have tend to be a lot longer. Masonic fellowship is a huge part of who we are. And in this time when we're being forced to distance ourselves and deprive ourselves of human interaction, I think people tend to want that more. So when you're talking to people on the phone, they tend to want to talk a little bit more. So it's especially challenging to Freemasonry because that's one of the cornerstones of our craft. Being able to get together, meet on the square, and just enjoy the fellowship that makes us part of who we are. So in the time that we're dealing with the quarantine for the COVID-19, there are some things that we can be doing. We've had a webinar on being able to host meetings. So there's a whole array of tools available for people to use. Zoom is a very easy platform. You can use Facebook Messenger. You can use Microsoft Teams. WebEx still has the availability of hosting conferences. Google Hangouts is another one. Skype is a good program. And our lodges fund things like newsletters. It might be time to start looking at adding that line item to the budget so that you can use digital means to keep in touch with your membership, especially in the time when people aren't able to talk. This would be a good way of being able to reach out and be able to keep in touch with your membership. There's not a lot of, so I guess one of the things we should keep in mind is that there's a wide range of how people in our lodges understand technology. You've got people who like the old school newsletters that arrive in the mail. You have people who still like to use the phone. Masonic membership tends to trend upward. So keep that in mind, that although you have the ability to use things like Zoom or WebEx, you still want to maintain contact with your membership via all of the technology that you have available. And that includes using the newsletter, sending out emails, setting up a calling committee. We want to try to minimize the membership slide. And here what I have is the first principle of Newton's law, which is a body at rest tends to stay at rest. We're creatures of habit, and when we're under normal circumstances, we like to keep ourselves busy. We've got scheduled meetings. We go to events. Now that we're broken from that sort of habitual social activities, the challenge here is in making sure that people aren't slipping away and occupying their time with other things. So it's especially important for lodges to try to reach out and to keep in contact with their members, especially in this particular time. Using all of your technology includes using the digital messages that we've been talking about. Set up a calling committee, designate 2 or 3 brothers in the lodge and give them a list of phone numbers. Have them call out to members that wouldn't necessarily want to join a Zoom meeting. But even just the ability to say hello goes a long way to keeping tabs on what's going on with your membership. And a lot of times you find out about things that are going on with the members that you can share with others. You learn about things for your Sunshine Committee. But it's especially important to maintain that touch for all of your members. I know that Dave Camp in the Minneapolis Valley Scottish Rite writes handwritten birthday cards for Valley members. That's a great idea for nowadays, and was previously a very fast-moving world. It was a nice personal touch. That's still something that you can do nowadays. You could set up a committee, and the master can sign, just handwritten notes to the members, send them out, reminding them that you're still there. It's a very important part of what we now have. As we've been going through this transition over into sort of a digital world, you should remember that the technology is something that you can augment into your regular lodge functions. So you could schedule, for example, officer meetings by Zoom. You could just set up a regular social meeting with the new technology. It shouldn't be a substitute for your regular meetings, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But now that we're all sort of being forced into using this technology, it's a good way of sort of asking yourself as a lodge, how do we use this to keep in contact with our members? Also, I guess it's good to remind that no tiled meetings. Let's save that work for when this quarantine ends. But I think the main point from this particular area of the presentation is to stay connected with your lodge members. You've got a wide variety of ways to do that. I think the motivation is to sort of stay away once we're sort of broken from our habits, try to stay connected with your lodge. There are some things that we're able to do now that we're starting to ease out of the quarantines. You can still organize different activities. Charity is another one of the cornerstones of Freemasonry. You can set up food drives, and that's still possible. I know that there's some organizations around the cities here that have been doing it. You can set up mass donations. I know that that's still a very special thing of need that's going around. Organize something like that. Set up a meeting on Zoom and see who's interested and reach out, try to do that. Another thing that's now that the weather is turning nicer, golf is a good activity to do. You're able to do the social distancing. Set up some golf outings. That's a great way of being able to just stay connected with some of the people in your lodge. Now, when you're organizing these type of activities, it's important to know that you're still wanting to get the word out there. So publicity about what's going on in your lodge is an excellent sort of feature. One of the lodges that I visit regularly has a sort of protocol that when they do something after the fact, they report that to the local news. Something that happens beforehand is not advertising, it's news. So it doesn't cost anything for them to just report that, and usually the newspaper will print something up in there. So it's a good way to get word out about what you're doing. So in addition to being able to maintain contact by all the various technology, use these type of activities to let other members know what you're doing, and then that will hopefully encourage them to come to other these types of activities. You can use social distancing in a variety of other ways. You can organize very small discussion groups. You can do that via this technology, but try to find ways that you can stay in contact with your members during the time of the social distancing. We may not end up going back to normal for a long time. I've heard news that they're anticipating a second wave. There may be a resurgence in the fall when people start to go back indoors. So we may have to plan for utilizing this type of technology to stay connected with our members. So enhancing the membership experience, use the technology. You can still do, like, for example, the officer meetings. You can do sunshine outreach just to sort of keep track of people. While we're in this time of quarantine, use it for planning. Again, when people are cut off from human interaction for long periods of time, that's something that they really want. So you can plan on a social event for when this finally does end. So one thing that you might want to do is to look at putting together a social event for once this is all said and done. We're all looking at the news, so take a look and see what you've got and try to put something together. It'll be a big hit for once people finally do start to come back into contact with each other. You can continue to do mentoring, charity, and education. Not everything that Masons do needs to be in a tiled meeting. You can have small aspect type of mentoring. We do a lot of different things. So I mean, look at ways that you can connect over the phone, or one or two people can get together with a friend and talk. You're still able to maintain social distancing. Utilize that thing. And then finally, the membership committee. There are 4 of us. Probably be adding another person here in the very short duration. Let us know if you have particular membership issues. I know that around the state, membership issues tend to not be uniform. Folks in the northwestern part of the state will have different issues than those of us in the metro area. But we're committed to try to find some solutions, things that we can do. So if you'd like for us to come and meet with your lodge, now in the time of COVID, we could certainly set up a techno, Zoom meeting for you. We can show you how to run Zoom meetings, things like that. But let us know how we can help you. That's what we're here for. And that is the short and dirty on enhancing the membership experience. I wanted to focus mostly on what we're able to do during this time. And of course, we've got the technology now to be able to host these things. Make use of it. But I think more than anything else, try to stay connected with your members. They're out there and they're wanting to maintain interaction with their lodges. So take the bull by the horns and reach out to them. And it doesn't have to just be technology. You can use the phones, send them letters. Personal letters go a long way. Any questions? And I think that there are some questions that have come in on chat. We've got some suggestions here. One of them is blood drives. That's an absolutely great idea because, as everyone knows, the American Red Cross is running short on blood. So there are social type events through golf outings, but also especially charity, and especially in this time when people are being kept apart. Try to find things that will remember. So we've got Thomas Hill, Winona Lodge is doing a May 5th blood drive. Excellent idea.
We've put that on the calendar for a while, and we talked to the Red Cross, and there's a need for it, a very great need for it, and that's got exemptions and is allowed to happen.
I donate blood fairly regularly, so I'm on the Red Cross email list, and I get emails all the time about how they're really in need of things like that. So if you're able to set up a blood drive, and we can help with that. If you're not sure how to do that, let us know. We can help you organize that.
I believe the Mall of America has in their rotunda, if you go in through a specific, like the only entrance that's probably open or unlocked, they've been doing blood drives for, I think, the past couple of weeks now in like the big open rotunda at the Mall of America. So yeah, that's all I got.
But I think, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's a great way, even if you get your lodge brothers and everybody else to come down there, at least in passing, you can kind of see each other if you go to the Mall of America or we're doing it, keeping in mind social distancing and everything else. But it's a nice way to still feel like you're connected and doing something together.
Absolutely. I mean, within social distancing guidelines, they recommend a little bit over 6 feet distance between you and the next person. But within that sort of guideline, you can still get together with people, and there's nothing that says that you can't organize a few people to just get together and talk about what's going on with the lodge. I think a lot of people would appreciate that. Any other questions or suggestions even? And I know one of the things that I think you really want to take into account is that, again, these are not normal circumstances. You still want to continue to think about ways to enhance brothers' experience in lodge. You want to run the gamut between planning social events, education, getting people involved in charity. And that's not any different now than it is then, but these are all the kinds of things that you can still do. You want to do, if you're in the officer line, you want to think about planning for those types of things. You want to make sure that your lodge is still a good experience for its brothers. The last thing that you want are for them to feel isolated and that you didn't provide them with an opportunity to get involved, to get engaged with their brethren, or even with the community. So that's definitely something that you want to plan. I know these are generalities, but within the context of your members' experience, those kinds of things are important, especially so now that it's hard to stay connected with people.
So one question I would have for you is, as the chairman for the mentorship committee, what is one of your goals for this year?
It's a good question. So with the Grand Lodge direction, we'd like to put together a membership conference, either jointly with some of the other committees or even our own. But what we're wanting to do is something along the lines of maybe some regional conferences for a group of. I know the leadership committee did a conference up in Duluth in the latter part of it was February, so that something along that model, putting together something where we can outreach to the various lodges around the state, mainly to get word out of who we are and what we do, and to offer help. Like I said, the membership issues that lodges face tend to vary by region. It varies by demographics. It varies by, even within the metro area, one lodge that meets down the road from another will have different membership issues. They all tend to sort of coalesce around a few different things, but we'd like to at least get people's input on how we can help. So one of the things that we really want to do is to make sure that we are known about who we are. And so the conferences was one of our top priorities. We were planning on getting that done. We were also looking at a few other different smaller projects to do. But we'd like to maybe get together with some of the other committees and brainstorm on ways that we can sort of pool our resources, get the most bang for our buck around with some of the other participants.
Joe, if I may.
Sure, go ahead, Chris.
We got to understand that no matter what's happening right now, we're still juggling two things, and that's keeping our current membership and acquiring new membership. And even though we're not holding lodge meetings or we're not holding brush parties, your actions in the world, including social media, is very important, very reflective on the organization in itself. If we're out there attaching masonry to our names on our Twitter accounts and stuff like that, and then we're acting inappropriately, people are not going to want to join an organization like that. Also, if we're not reaching out to our current members and keeping true to our obligations and saying that we're going to take care of them in a time of need, if we're not doing that, then we're also failing our membership and they're not going to want to stay around. So we need to make sure that we're still, as the Grandmaster puts it, being a Mason and going out there and doing the right thing, no matter what your belief is right now in what's going on in the world. That still doesn't mean you cannot act accordingly, square, and upright. We just need to make sure we're doing that, because as we get more and more on social media, because that's what's happening right now. Masonry, in my opinion, it was a little behind in technology. And this really forced it to catch up to a lot of current generations. We're really being forced to get into a world that we're not familiar with. And as we do that, we're going to expose ourselves even more. There's probably thousands of lodges using what we are doing right now. Somebody's going to hack in, somebody's going to post it on YouTube, and it's no different than what we see already. But if these things happen and they see us acting accordingly, that's going to attract people. So we need to understand that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think we need to set the example for how we want people to see us. So they're like, I think that getting involved, giving your brothers something to do, get them involved in some charitable events, that creates better press than folks misbehaving on Facebook. And frankly, that's probably more what draws people to us than that kind of thing. Setting the example, giving people something to do. We're having to catch up on this medium, sort of being forced to. Let's use it to our advantage and set a better example. Because there's plenty of negative stuff out there on Facebook or other social media sites. We're still going to have to use those platforms, but we can certainly make sure that we're doing it appropriately and setting a better example for everyone else.
charity is more than just fundraising also.
Absolutely.
We have an opportunity now where we can help take care of some of those local establishments that are critical to what's going on. Your law enforcement, your firefighters, your if you have a hospital in your area, let's reach out to them and say, hey, is there anything we can do? I know the Masonic Home, it got brought up that they need like sanitizer and stuff like that. Find out ways to help around us, and that will also give us more exposure in what Masonry is about, and then keeping our members busy and kind of coming up with creative ideas to still be active in the community, because we still can't forget about that.
Well, another thing that and I mentioned, social distancing is we still have. You could still clean up a park, get some brothers together, organize a day of just doing some cleaning in the public sphere, to clean a park, adopt a highway. You can do that with social distancing. So lots of things that can still be done and that are going to generate a more positive. First of all, it's going to get people busy, involved, and it's going to set a better example.
Well, thank you, Worship Brother Joe. Is there any other questions for Worship Brother Joe and the membership committee this evening? Well, switch back to my little presentation again, just as a reminder for everybody, the schedule again for this upcoming couple weeks. Grant Secretary is taking questions next week, Tuesday, so please come with very hard questions for the Right Worshipful, if you would, please. And oops.
Are those a couple new ones too?
Yep. So I'll be getting the registration site up on those here tomorrow.
One question I have in advance for the Grant Secretary is, when are you going to shave again?
I may never shave again. We'll see.
Since we're all working at home, maybe it's more appropriate to ask, when is everybody going to shower again?
Ooh, a special surprise guest.
Don't want to talk about that. All right. Before we go too far on that one, I'm going to stop the recording.
Oh man, you were recording that?
I was.